All right, everybody, welcome back. Patriots Press Pass, Week 16, Christmas week. It's the holidays. It's Mike Kadlick with CLNS Media's Tayler Kyles here on Patriots Press Pass, where we are going to go back, powered by FanDuel, and go through all of the games of the week here in this, like I said, holiday weekend NFL. Week 16, we got games on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, so the NFL is officially taking over. Yep, now that college has their bowl season, the NFL just decides, well, we can just play on every single day. So we had
It's their
Thursday.
world. We're just living in it.
Exactly. So we had Thursday last night. We got Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Saturday, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, all across the board. And we're going to touch on as many as possible. 6 of them, as we always do, again, powered by FanDuel. So go to FanDuel.com/Boston. They'll give you a ton of bonus bets over there, and it helps us over here at Patriots Press Pass as well. We're going to start like we do every week, Taylor, with the Patriots. They are headed to Denver. They are the Sunday night football game, 8:15 kickoff. Again, playing the Broncos. The Broncos are 6.5-point favorites, according to FanDuel. The total is 34.5. We've been down there all week. We've seen sort of what's going on at practice. I know they don't give us a ton, but the big news, I think, is Hunter Henry showed up yesterday at practice, and then doesn't look like he's going to play this week. He showed up at practice yesterday, then didn't end up participating. Heading into Friday, we'll see what happens there. But Patriots coming off of another loss against the Chiefs after the I call it interesting win against Pittsburgh. Kind of look like they had some life, and then they came back down to earth last weekend. So heading to Denver, 6.5-point dogs. Can the Patriots win this one? What do you make of the matchup for them this weekend on Christmas Eve?
Another big one is Jabril Peppers hasn't played.
Oh,
This
that's
week.
right too. Yep.
And I was thinking about that yesterday because if he doesn't play, that probably means a lot more Marte Mapu. Because they've been using him like usually it's just in a certain package. It's their big nickel. So maybe Adrian Phillips, plays more just because they trust him on the back end. It's going to be interesting because Jabril Peppers has obviously been one of their snap leaders and one of their best players. So I think they can win this on the strength of their defense. Like they force a couple turnovers and set up some easy scores. And we've seen, I think it's more likely because this isn't like a great Broncos defense. So I think it's
Right.
more likely that we see growth or the same thing where it's a great first half and a bad second half. I think it's less likely that we just see it beep out. Actually, no, I take that back because, like you said, no Hunter Henry, no Cole Strange.
Yep.
We don't know if Trent Brown's going to play, and even if he does, he's going to be rotating with Vidarian Lowe instead of Connor McDermott.
Yep.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at this on paper, but yeah, it's going to be.
So
a
we're
tough
taking the
matchup.
Broncos.
Yeah, the Broncos should win. I think the Patriots could pull off a sneaky win. I don't want them to, but yeah, the Broncos should handle this one.
I'm fully with you on hashtag Team Tank there with not wanting the Patriots to win because it'll make our jobs more fun when we can talk about Drake May and Caleb Williams instead of a 5th or 6th pick with a tackle and Joe Alt. So I'm with you, but I also don't think they will win. I mean, again, I get that they've had some promise. They've shown out some first halves over the last couple weeks, but I mean, again, with Henry out, with Peppers not looking good, and then you mentioned Trent too. Like Trent's been dealing with stuff all year, like ankle and chest.
Since he got rolled up on,
like he's been
Mm-hmm.
struggling all season long. So you mentioned too, McDermott out with the concussion. Doesn't look like he's going to play. He hasn't been to practice. So then they have to go to Lowe. Like there's too much compounding. And also add in the fact that the Broncos are playing for something here. Like they're 7-7. They can get into the wild card mix. They can make the postseason. The Patriots aren't playing for much. I give that sort of edge, I guess, to the Broncos as well. They're at home. They're on Christmas Eve. Like Patriots don't want to go out to Denver on Christmas Eve. They want to spend it with their families. They're gonna be waiting for the plane to be taken off later in the night. So I think the Broncos win this one. I think they cover 6.5 as well. The total, like I said, is 34.5. It feels low, but it also felt like one of those numbers where everyone said it was low and then it kept hitting for like 3 weeks of the Patriots. Went over the last couple weeks. What do you make of 34.5 before we move on?
I just don't think the Pats have enough offensively. They're so banged up right now. I can't see them making it enough of a fight that it gets that high.
I know. It's crazy. I'm with you. Let's take the under. We'll go under 34.5. We agree on that one. Moving on, Saturday football. We started with the Patriots. We're going back to Saturday afternoon because we have 2 Saturday games this weekend. First one is Bengals at Steelers. Jake Browning's Bengals, winners of 3 straight. They are 2.5-point favorites. The total in this one, 37.5 at FanDuel. Steelers are making a quarterback change this week. That's the big news out of Pittsburgh. They're not going to go with Mitchell Trubisky. They're going to go with Mason Rudolph. Kenny Pickett's still out with his injury, so they're going with the third string guy because Trubisky hasn't done anything for them. They lost 2 straight with him at the helm. Bengals only 2.5-point favorites, like I said. I mean, they look like they haven't missed a beat without Joe Burrow, really. I mean,
Is Jamar Chase playing?
I think it's TBD.
Okay,
So,
I'll double check real quick.
Yeah, check on that while I keep getting the game going.
Out. Jamar Chase.
Out.
That's why it's so low. Yeah,
okay,
he's
that
out.
makes more sense because
like
I said, that's the problem solved because Jake Browning has looked like a pretty good quarterback here over the last couple of weeks, and it's because he has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. It's I don't want to take anything away from Joe Burrow, but that's as much of a plug and play offense as you'd like as a quarterback to be able to go in with those two guys. So the defense looks pretty good too. I love Lou Anarumo. He's one of my favorite defensive coordinators in the game. And I just don't like where the Steelers are at. There's kind of some rumblings about Mike Tomlin not being their head coach again next season. Sounds like him and Belichick might be on their way out, which is crazy to think about that those two guys would be out in the same offseason. But it's the age. It's the that's the NFL these days. But what do you make of this game for the Bengals, for the Steelers? Bengals favored in Pittsburgh this weekend.
Bengals, they're still a much better team, even without Jamar Chase. I think this one's pretty easy.
I agree.
I don't think the Steelers are going to be able to score a ton. I think they have the talent, but I also don't think they have the fire right now. Like the whole George Pickens thing, and they're still playing
It's a George Pickens thing of him just like jogging.
And everybody always loves to say they're like, "Oh, the Patriots could have had George Pickens."
I know.
Do I think they still should have taken Tyquan Thornton? No, I don't. But at the same time, he wasn't coming out of college with no red flags. Like his attitude was a huge thing, and everyone.
That's the reason he fell, and that's what he's doing now. Yeah.
Everyone loved the physicality where he's bullying guys, but like he was actually bullying guys where he was getting penalized because it's like, all right, dude, I love the fire, but this isn't like Gronk where somebody's just been in his face all game and he's usually calm and then just explodes. This is like a thing with him. So yeah, I don't think that he should have gotten taken by the Patriots because I think that he, in certain ways, is a locker room cancer. Jalen Warren went as far as he could without completely not throwing him under the bus because Pickens was wrong. But he was like, yeah, if that were me, I probably would have blocked for me. But, we play differently.
Right.
That's a crazy thing to hear
someone say about their teammate. That's crazy. Yep.
Oh, yeah. I'm getting goosebumps. That's crazy. So, yeah, man. Bengals. Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Bengals win this one. Like I said a couple times now, I really do like what they have in Browning. It feels like he's not Joe Burrow, but I think they can make the playoffs with him. They have something going there. And I like the over 37.5 because I just think that every time you put a new quarterback in, that the Steelers are doing, it gives you some sort of jolt. You saw it with Zappe the last 2 weeks. Like even if your offense isn't that good, it gives the defense something they haven't seen. Like Mason Rudolph hasn't played football in a long time, so it's tough to kind of prep for that. It gives you a quick jolt. Steelers might score some points. I do think Bengals score more than 3 more, which is why I like the Bengals -2.5, and I do like over 37.5 as well. So that's the first Saturday game. We're going to get to the second one, Bills at Chargers. But before we do, let's get a quick word in from our friends over at FanDuel.
Early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action, NFL. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including you got spreads, you got your player props, you got over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
FanDuel.com/Boston, $150 in bonus bets for you, where you can take all that money and bet it on the NFL this weekend, which we're going to continue on right now with Bills at Chargers. The Bills are road 12.5-point favorites against these Chargers without Justin Herbert, now without their head coach and Brandon Staley. The first game for LA without Staley at the helm. The last time we saw LA on a football field, they got spanked by the Raiders 63-21, something bizarre like that. So
crazy.
They're going to have some new life. They didn't name Kellen Moore interim head coach, which I found interesting. They're going with, I think, one of their special teams guys. I can't remember his name, but they have new life. They have a new interim head coach. They have a new interim GM running the show out in LA. A potential fit for Bill Belichick this offseason. We'll see. We're not here for that unless FanDuel throws us some betting odds on when or who Bill Belichick's next team will be. If that's the case, me and Taylor will hop right on here and talk about it. But we're talking about the games for now. So Bills, big favorites. Bills look good without who was their OC? Ken Dorsey. They look like they have some new life there on offense with Josh Allen and Joe Brady running things. Bills are rolling. It looks like they're kind of they're going to find themselves in the playoff mix after looking like they might not make it early on. So big spread, new life in LA, Bills rolling. What do you make of the matchup, Taylor?
I think that the Bills and Chargers both had coaching shakeups.
Yeah.
The Bills had the talent for it to be a wake-up call. I don't think the Chargers do. Like, we talk about their good players. Their best players are 30
Which we
years
talk
old.
about this like every week in the thing, and I love the Chargers players. But you make good points, so let's hear it.
Again, their best players are 30 years old,
Right.
or they're horribly injury prone, like Mike Williams and Joey Bosa, who are obviously out for the season. So, I can't even think of anybody else. Like Gerald Everett sometimes has a
bring
crazy
me back down to
highlight.
earth here. I know.
I
Keenan
don't
Allen,
know.
Justin Herbert. I know they're not there. I know.
And Derwin
neither
James
of
is
them
having the
are-
worst season of his career right now for
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
reason you want to name. Like, that's the truth. And I can't even think of anybody else. So I'm like, all right, this is somebody you'd like game plan for. Like, I think that it's a poorly built roster, and that's why Tom Telesco's out the door. But I think the Bills are rolling right now. Their defense is playing really well. Josh Allen is cutting back a bit on the mistakes and making a lot of plays.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think this is a pretty easy Bills win.
You think they cover 12.5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
think it's going to be – this game is probably going to get ugly.
I think I agree with you. I've been workshopping this one this week, looking at the lines and how it changes. And on one hand, I look at, like I mentioned before with Mason Rudolph, and it's different now with an interim head coach, but like the Raiders got a jolt. Like they'll play harder than they did last week against the Raiders. There's no doubt about that. Like
but they're not talented enough to play the Bills.
But I know you're right. So
they're going to get wrecked a little bit, probably.
That's why I've gone back and forth thinking maybe can they make it a 10-point game? But then no Herbert. You're going with Easton Stick, who, I mean, he played okay for what it's worth the other week, but like I'm with you. I think I'm going to take the Bills.
Also,
Bills
I will say Morgan Fox, he's a beast. I want to shout him out. I was going through all the players. He's a really good player.
All right.
Also, Dick of the Kicker.
Yeah, that's true.
There's going to be a lot of field goals, maybe.
All right. So does Cameron Dicker make it a 13-point game or a 12-point game? I don't think
with his own leg. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
He should go to the Pro Bowl, but like he need a Hall of Fame day to do that.
No, I'm with you. I think Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo last week it was supposed to be a close game against Dallas, and they just blew them out of the water. I think the Bills are
that's
back.
That's like one of the most talented teams in football, like in a while. So.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna take the Bills here. 43.5 total. I think the Bills are gonna score points because I'm with you. I don't think the Chargers are as talented as some may think, as much as I even may think. So I'm gonna take over 43.5 because I think there's gonna be some points in this game. Moving on to Sunday afternoon. Cowboys, like we just mentioned, at Dolphins. The Dolphins are just 1.5-point favorites at home against the Dallas
Cowboys,
team.
Man.
Yeah.
Just a slaughterhouse. Ugh.
Yeah, so a total of 50.5. As we know, the Dolphins can score points. They showed that last week, even without Tyreek Hill. Beat up on the Jets. I believe it was 30-0. Tua knocking out the naysayers, if you will. But Dallas is in a spot where they need to bounce back. They looked like Dak was an MVP favorite. They looked like the leaders in the clubhouse in the NFC, maybe behind the 49ers. But they kind of got their bell run last weekend against Buffalo. So they're in a bounce back spot, but they go on the road to Miami. Like I said, 1.5-point favorites are the Dolphins at FanDuel. Who wins this one? Do you like the matchup? Let's get your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, this is a tough one. These are two really good teams, obviously really talented teams who the Cowboys just lost, but the Dolphins are coming in confident. I don't know.
That makes it fun.
Yeah, it does. Okay, I'm just going to go high-scoring game.
Okay.
And I say Cowboys win because I think just Dak is on a whole nother level. And obviously Tyreek is like a crazy power-up for Tua, who is talented in his own right, but like in a real shootout, I just trust Dak more, so I'll go with him.
So you still trust Dak?
Yeah, I think he's had a good season. He'll bounce back.
Okay. I don't disagree. I look at Miami and what they did last week, at home still. There's this narrative thing around the Dolphins where they play good early, they start hot, and then they get down the stretch of the season, they kind of fall off, and then they hit the playoffs, and they got to go on the road, and they can't do it. But with them still,
they also don't have an offensive line. I forgot about that.
That's true.
That's
huge.
Fair. Against the Cowboys. Oh boy.
Yeah, all right, you got me there.
He's gonna be throwing in under a second.
But they do that a lot because they just kind of let the guy go and get under it. But you know what? I'm gonna take the Dolphins. I'm gonna go against you this time. I'm gonna go Dolphins -1.5. I like Tua. I don't know. I like Tua this week. I'm gonna
come back to this one. Because I think that's a crazy pick after what I just said.
I love it. All right, I'm Dolphins -1.5. Taylor is Cowboys +1.5. Over 50.5 or under 50.5?
Over. I think the Cowboys are going to do that. No, the Dolphins have a good defense. It's not like I don't think it's going to be a blowout in that regard, but I don't know how. Like the Cowboys are going to have to miss a lot of tackles.
Yeah, I know.
That's really the only way I think they're going to get the explosives they want because Tua's not going to have any time.
Yeah. Yeah, all right, that's fair. I'm still going to do it. I don't know why. Because everything's telling me what way to go, so I'm just going to go opposite because that's how gambling goes sometimes. Before we get to 2 of the 3 Christmas Day games, we're going to take a quick listen to our friends over at SeatGeek. We'll be right back.
Looking for the best deal on Celtics tickets? And with over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events every single day on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports festivals, and more. With the NFL, NBA, and NHL seasons in full swing, you don't want to miss out. SeatGeek has your tickets to every game. Plus, artists like Travis Scott are on tour. They put all the tickets across the web in one place to make sure you're getting a good deal. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so look for the green dots. Green means good and red means bad. Every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee, and SeatGeek is the only site that lets you return your tickets ahead of the event with swaps. So as you know, I always come through for you guys. You can use my code DREAMERSPRO for $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. That's $20 off your first purchase with promo code DREAMERSPRO. Make sure you check the link in the description to download the app.
All right, use the code DREAMERSPRO on SeatGeek, and maybe you can get to a Christmas Day game if you'd like to with that Dreamers Pro. Yeah, a little juice there with Dreamers Pro over at SeatGeek. I don't know what you're doing on Christmas Day, but if you're in Kansas City, you're in San Francisco, and you want to go to a game, then go check it out on SeatGeek. We're going to start with the game in Kansas City. Antonio Pierce's Raiders are heading to KC to take on the Chiefs. Chiefs are 10-point favorites according to FanDuel. The total is 40.5. As we know, we mentioned earlier, those Raiders coming off a dominant win against the LA Chargers that quite literally got their coach, the opposing coach, fired. So Pierce's Raiders continue to fight. Some great plays. I don't know if we talked about this last week. It was a Thursday game, but some plays from Jacoby Myers, from Brandon Bolden, from Jack Jones. The Patriots West team. Friends. Yeah, all our old friends were hooping last Thursday night. But they head to Kansas City, who just beat the Patriots 27-17. Kansas City still doesn't look like themselves. Yeah, they beat the Patriots, but the Patriots aren't that good. So 10-point favorites at home, 40.5 total. Taylor, what do you make of this matchup?
This is going to be my saucy pick. Just because the Raiders, if it's my saucy pick, it means the other team is going to blow them out. So, based on history, I think that the Raiders are going to upset. I think it'll be a shootout. Ooh. I think it's going to hit the over. And I think the Raiders are going to be able to keep up, and they're going to gut their way to a win.
You think they win outright?
I think it's going to be close. But, yeah, I think they win outright. I think it'll be close. I think they win. But I also think it'll be because the Chiefs receivers, kind of let them down.
Yeah.
So we saw that literally last week. Tony gave Jelani Tavai an interception. They cannot get out of their own way. And I think the Raiders are a team that can capitalize on that. Now, once again, because I said that, the Chiefs are going to just blow them out of the water. But
Jack Jones I saw Jack Jones had a good quote this week. They were asking about Patrick Mahomes and their offense and if they're worried about the receivers. And he said, no, we're not worried about the receivers. We're just worried about Patrick Mahomes. He said something like he's the magician, but if he doesn't have any magic tricks or something like that, it was
pretty good
quote. But it's true.
Yes.
Yeah. I think the Raiders cover 10. I don't know how close they keep it. Like, that still can be a 7-point game where the Chiefs kind of, handle their business, but don't outright blow them out. But I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if the Raiders win. They're just playing just to play spoilers this year. You saw it last week, obviously, against LA. And you're right, the Chiefs don't really have it right now. I mean, their defense is still solid, but the way those receivers just don't help out Patrick Mahomes, and the way that, it happens and they don't, build on and fix their mistakes. Like, I mean, Tony last week, it hits him right in the hands. That was a problem that.
And he had a matchup against Jawan Bentley. That's the craziest part. Like, the scheme was perfect, and then he just crazy.
And this is the stuff we were talking about them in week 1. Tony had those 3 drops in week 1 against the Lions that they would have won the game against Detroit, but they're not fixing their mistakes. I'm surprised Tony's still playing for them. He's a good, I don't even want to say he's a good player. He's a talented player. He just never puts it all together. Talent is the right way to say it. So I'm going to take the Raiders plus 10. I think the Chiefs end up winning the game, but I still like the Raiders to cover that. So let's go on to the final game of the weekend. Arguably the game of the week, in my opinion. It's between Dallas and Miami, and this one, which is the Ravens taking on the 49ers. I believe they're both the 1 seeds in their respective conferences. A good matchup here. Fun matchup. Wow. Niners are at home, 5.5-point favorites. The total is 46.5. Lamar Jackson versus Brock Purdy. Never thought I'd be saying that 5 years ago, but you got Lamar Jackson taking on Brock Purdy as the 1 seeds in the AFC and NFC. What do you make of the matchup, Taylor, and who wins this one?
This is another really tough one. Excuse me.
Oh, God bless you.
Oh, thank you. I wasn't sure if it was going to happen or not. This is so tough because I want to say, obviously, Lamar Jackson should be able to handle business. I think he's an MVP candidate that people aren't really talking about. But Christian McCaffrey is someone who is
also an MVP candidate, yeah.
Right. So, it's not so easy. And he could just take the game over all by himself. But the linebackers for the Ravens, man, they're not going to make it easy. There's 2 of the best in the league and the most athletic in the league. So I'm going to give it to the Ravens. I think it'll be over. I think that as good as these defenses are, they're just such talented offenses where they're going to have to go blow for blow. Maybe it starts slow and then it kind of picks up late once they get a feel for what the defense is trying to do to them. But yeah, I think the Ravens play. What's the spread?
5.5. Niners are favored.
Oh boy. So Ravens. But
I think
either way. Tough spread, man.
I know it's tough to pick, but I think I like the Ravens too with the points. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it's going to be a 3-point game either way. And I think I like the over 46.5. Both these defenses are good, but when push comes to shove on a Sunday night football game like this, I still think they're going to go blow for blow at one point. And when you have guys on both sides, like you mentioned, in McCaffrey and in Lamar Jackson, they're the most talented players on the field at the end of the day, and they're going to make it happen for both sides. So I like the Ravens with the points. I'm with you. I think it's going to be close, and I like over 46.5. That's going to do it for myself and for Tayler Kyles. Make sure to follow Taylor on Twitter at tkyles39. Read all of his stuff at clnsmedia.com. If you want to listen and take on my takes, you can follow me on Twitter as well at Mike Kadlick down below, and read all my Patriots coverage at weei.com. We'll be back once again next week, week 17. Only 2 more of these for the season before we get into all of our playoff coverage powered by FanDuel. So make sure you go to FanDuel.com/Boston. Get your bonus bets over there so you're geared up for the postseason. And make sure to rate, review, subscribe this video, and stay tuned on Patriots Press Pass for all of our coverage, not only throughout the Patriots season, but throughout the playoffs as well. So thanks for listening. Be well, and we'll talk to y'all soon.